Well, I've come here, to Amarillo, basically to have an opportunity to talk to the workforce, to see the work that they do, to thank them for the work that they do, and to let them know what our plans are moving forward. President Obama has made an unprecedented commitment in the nuclear security business, and this is the business that we're in here at Pantex and around the country, but specifically here at Pantex. I'm here to let the workforce know that they're going to be seeing more money coming into the plant. There's going to be more work coming into the plant, and that I want to, to thank them for the work that they've done. They just had a tremendous year.
It kind of ties in actually to one of my questions, with all the budget cuts we've been seeing recently in a lot of different departments.
Right. Yeah.
Do you anticipate any cuts or restructuring at Pantex?
No. The president has increased the budgets here. As that, obviously we're a part of the executive branch. We propose our budgets to Congress. In this particular case, in fiscal year 2011, we've got a very significant increase, over $600 million, so close to a 10% increase in this program. The Pantex plant is a part of that overall effort, and in fiscal year 2012, which we just rolled out last week, we have an additional 10% increase in our program. Pantex is going to go up by 20% overall, and that should tell us a couple of things. One is the work you do here is important. Two is the president recognizes that, and despite very tough physical challenges that we have in this country, he says this work is so important that it has to continue and that it has to happen. Obviously, we have to make sure the legislative branch understands that, folks in Congress understand that, and we're in the process of, and have been in the process of educating them on that. So
okay.
we'll continue to work it.
Sounds good. And
yeah.
you kind of touched on this a little bit, but how would you classify Pantex in terms of its performance and importance?
Oh, Pantex has done a fantastic job. Just in last year alone, they've exceeded all their production milestones, in some cases by 126%. And this is very difficult and delicate work, and it requires quality, the highest quality, throughout the process. And of course, we ensure that. But in addition to the challenges that we faced of making sure it's high quality, we had a flood last year. Of course, you recognize that, you were probably here. Mm-hmm. And despite being shut down for a number of weeks, they rebounded off of that and showed that they have that can-do spirit, frankly. We call it getting the job done. It's a theme that we have here at Pantex, and the performance of the NNSA, the National Nuclear Security Administration, which is the group that I run, is a direct reflection on how Pantex does. So I would give them an A.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you believe are the biggest threats that our country faces right now, and what's being done about it?
Well, our biggest threats, I think President Obama had it exactly right. The biggest threat in the nuclear security side isn't necessarily two nation states like Russia, China, or the United States going after each other with warheads. It's a terrorist getting her hands on nuclear material and causing damage somewhere. Whether it's in the United States or around the world, it doesn't matter. If an improvised nuclear device goes off or a radiological dirty device goes off somewhere, it will impact the global economy, and we are part of that global economy. Also, it could cause significant damage. So our job is to prevent that from happening, to secure material around the world. And this is one of the key themes that has come out of our budgets. We, of course, are about investing in the future, an $85 billion investment in the future. The second thing we're doing is about implementing the President's nuclear security agenda, which means taking care of the stockpile and securing material around the world. And the third thing we're doing is improving the way we do business, because it's not enough just to get increased resources. You have to spend that money wisely. And the folks here at Pantex do a marvelous job at improving, constantly looking at how do we get more efficient. There's lots of examples. I'd be happy to give them to you if you need, but they're great examples of how they've improved the way they do business.
Okay. Well, while we're on it, what are a couple examples?
Well, one example in particular, although I won't tell you what specific warhead system it was on, some of the workforce here, and because these people know they do this job day in and day out, they understand the details of it, they always ask themselves questions, could I do this better? And there's a particular operation that we do on the warhead that used to take, right now, 26 shift works of work to get done. That's 26 8-hour shifts of work. And they've looked at it, the workforce here has looked at it and says, I think we can get this work done in 11 shifts. And so we want to be implementing these types of changes to get essentially twice as much work done in the same amount of time if we can implement these types of changes. And that's what I expect to see. I think that's what taxpayers would expect to see. I think members of Congress would want us to see that, well, we'll give you these increased resources because we know you're always looking for ways to spend the money wisely. That's what this is all about.
Okay. My last question, what successes are we having with non-proliferation?
Significant successes. Fiscal year 2010 was our biggest year yet. The Nuclear Posture Review, of course, came out. The other thing the President did is call together 47 heads of nations around the world into the first ever Nuclear Security Summit. It was the largest gathering of political leadership since the 1940s, happened here in Washington, D.C., in this country, to recognize that this concern about nonproliferation is not a concern just for the United States, it's a global concern. And we secured commitments from these nations on securing their material. We've essentially protected thousands of sites around the world over the past few years, and finished a significant amount of work in the Ukraine just last year, in Belarus, and in Serbia. So it was a tremendous year for us last year.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions or anything important I'm leaving out?
Well, I think I want to leave you with the fact that the workforce here is second to none. They are first class. They do their work in a safe and reliable way, and for the most part, they've exceeded all expectations from a performance standpoint. And I want to let the workforce know that despite concerns, ups and downs in budgets that they hear about in Congress, despite concerns about contract strategies and maybe contracts being competed, that their jobs are secure and that we have a lot of work ahead of them for the next 20 years. You can make a career, and we want you to make a career doing this work, because it does take professionals to work on the stockpile.
All right.
Good.
We're good.
Touch on a little bit more in depth about how you realize that Pantex is a critical piece to Amarillo's economy.
Sure, absolutely.
And I know that, you know, earlier in the year there was a little scuttlebutt, if you will, you know, about what happens if Pantex goes away, or what happens if Pantex cuts a significant number of jobs, perhaps not the huge high-end jobs, but some of those middle-of-the-road jobs.
Okay. Yeah, Pantex is here to stay. I mean, let's be very clear on that. The mission here at Pantex is unique to Pantex. It's not going anywhere else. What we are going to do with this request that we've rolled out last week is provide a 20% increase in the budget here. It's a recognition that we need to invest in the future here. We're going to actually, it's not just about working on the stockpile. Of course, that's a big part of it. It's about making sure that the folks are in the best facilities possible. These facilities here need to be maintained. So we're providing increased resources to maintain the facilities. And we need new facilities, and we've got a high explosive pressing facility, brand new, that we're going to be building here at Pantex, and that should send the signal to the workforce and the community that there's a long-term mission need here. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stay right here. $650 million comes into Amarillo through the federal government to work on the stockpile. Obviously, that money goes into salaries and payrolls that manifests itself into the community. We do $30 million worth of direct procurements to small businesses in the area. That's good for the local economy. We need the community. We are part of the community. And in my discussions yesterday with community leaders yesterday, I've got great examples of how integrated the workforce is in the community. So it's this is a great story.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's get some